All right, we'll move ahead. Welcome to the Board of Directors of the Indian Wells Valley Water District, regular board meeting today, Monday, April 13th. I'm officially going to call the meeting to order at 4:30 p.m. And with that, Stan, can you lead us in the pledge today? Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Present.
President Kaczynski,
Present.
Vice President St. Amand,
Here.
Director Griffin,
Here.
Director Ratora,
Here.
Director Boyd.
Here.
Posting of agenda.
The agenda for today's regular board meeting was posted on Thursday, April 9th, 2026.
Thank you very much. And on number 5, any conflict of interest declarations?
President Kaczynski,
None.
Vice President St. Amand,
None.
Director Griffin,
None.
Director Ratora,
None.
Director Boyd.
None.
Thank you. Public questions and comments in the closed session. I don't see anybody online and nobody sitting out there unless I'm missing them. And I guess with that, I will go ahead and we'll adjourn this open session at 4:32 and retire to closed session. Thank you. All right, it's now 6 o'clock. We adjourned the closed session at 5:45, and I'm now officially opening the open session at 6 PM. So with that, I will go ahead and pass it on to our attorney for any comments about the closed session.
The board met with staff and legal on the items under closed session. No action was taken that requires disclosure under the Brown Act.
And judging from your voice, we'll try not to ask you a lot of questions, okay? Okay, with that, we'll move on to number 8 on our agenda, public questions and comments. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on the agenda and of which the board has jurisdiction. However, no action may be taken by the board of directors on any item not appearing on the agenda. Non-agenda speakers are asked to limit their presentation to 5 minutes. Public questions and comments on items listed on the agenda will be accepted at any time the item is brought forth for consideration by the board. When you're recognized by a chairperson, please state your name. Do I have any comments from the public? Do I have someone online? All righty. Go ahead, who's ever calling in. I showed a caller off on the screen here.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is Renee Westerlus. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to know, what is the purpose of owning that property up in Inyo County?
I don't believe that's on our agenda anywhere to talk about, Jim, as far as I can see.
Which property?
The one that had all the illegal dumping happening to it and has some wells on it?
If someone can give her a real quick answer, great, but I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, I really don't. That was bought many years ago.
It was
I'm sorry.
several decades ago, the board of the Water District purchased property in Inyo County with the hope that they would be able to put in wells there and transport the water to the Indian Wells Valley. They were, however, stymied in that effort by the county of Inyo.
Is there an alternative purpose for owning it now?
I don't-
We're not supposed to have a
Yeah,
conversation.
can't have a conversation about that. Yeah, why we own it or what we're doing with it or anything like that.
But isn't
It's
it
just the fact that we own it.
But isn't it costing the district money?
We have no comments on that at this time. We just can't go there.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. I see we have some more viewers. Any other calls, Chris? All right. With that, we'll move on to current business and committee reports. We'll go to the consent calendar. I'm asking for approval of the board minutes and the accounts payable. Board minutes of March 9th, regular board meeting, board minutes, special board meeting minutes of March 24th, and approval of the accounts payable disbursements. Do I have a motion?
I so move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any comments before we move on for the vote? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Yeah, you're new here. I don't know if we're popping it up on here. You're just going to. There we go. Thank
I
you.
knew she could do
I
it.
knew she could. All right. All right, the motion passes with 5 yeses. Thank you. That will move on to 9B, Admin Exec Committee, Organizational Chart Revisions, review and discussion on the proposed revision of the organizational chart, including title changes. So who's handling that? George, you handling that?
Yeah,
Before you start, I'd like to mention that I'm going to abstain from being involved in this conversation because my son is one of the employees, so I will not be commenting,
Okay,
just in case there was any type of a conflict.
okay. Fine.
great.
On the record.
As discussed in the admin exec meeting, we're moving forward with some organizational changes. We're moving the water treatment section under the chief engineer to supervise. This is going to both balance the workload between the three sort of triad of our three main people, the operations manager, the chief engineer, and our financial expert, Ty. This sort of gives them all a sort of equivalent number of people to supervise. There's a lot of information also that flows from the water treatment section directly to the chief engineer, so that's going to be convenient. And it seemed like a reasonable thing to do and had widespread support amongst both the employees and staff. So we decided to move forward with this now, as opposed to waiting until we get a new general manager.
Okay,
And there were a couple comments. I think the board will see that we've made a few tweaks based on stuff that was mentioned in the
yes,
meeting. So
absolutely.
any other questions?
I'll start. I know you worked hard on this. We talked a little bit about it, or I think engineering mentioned it to me, and everybody that I know of is in favor of this. It spreads the workload out. These people were pretty much doing reports that were coming through engineering anyway, and just going to make things flow smoother. Plus it, again, even though, I don't have a problem with it. Any other comments from the board?
The only thing I was concerned about, and it's already been addressed, is that the employees are good with it, and it sounds like they are, so there's no reason not to.
Yeah, and to make a point is, I kept thinking that maybe we should hold off on this because of the change in manager that we'll be doing in the near future, but it felt like the employees were, they looked at this, they talked about it, including the managers, and they're in favor of it.
So they are all aware and have had a chance to weigh in themselves?
That's
or-
my understanding, unless I hear anything else down there from the three.
Yeah, I've
Okay. They're all shaking their head, yes.
yes.
Bobblehead yeses.
Who are we to intercede?
Yeah. All right.
I'm supportive.
Okay. Anything, David?
No.
You're fine with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion to approve the new organizational chart. Do I want to combine that with the job descriptions? Jim, does it matter? Okay. Okay, I need a motion.
Just one further question,
Yeah.
sorry. Is there going to be any salary adjustments based on these new job descriptions? Or
I don't,
they-
bel-
So there were salary adjustments that were made, I don't know, what, 6, 8 months ago when we hired John as the new operations manager, there was a change in 2 job descriptions that are included in this. And those did have salary adjustments incorporated with them, commensurate with the designation as the chief operator for either water treatment or distribution. But this does not have any changes in salary.
Okay,
Okay.
so anybody is affected by this has already had their salary adjusted to match the increased responsibilities they're being asked to take on?
That's correct.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So back to, do I hear a motion to approve the new organizational chart?
So move.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any comments from either the board or the public? All right, hearing none, I will go ahead and call for the vote. And we have Chuck abstaining, but the other 4 members all voted yes, so the motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to job description revisions.
Okay, there are 3 job, whether 3 or 4?
Or
4 job descriptions that were impacted by the changes to the organizational chart, and these job descriptions were modified
I've seen
to
those.
accommodate that. For example, when we took water supply and put it under engineering, we just modified the engineering document to say, you now are the supervisor of water and water supply. So, just minor changes like that to be consistent with the org chart.
Okay.
Okay. And I do know that these are things that we're cleaning. We may continue to clean up some other job descriptions as time goes on as well, just to make sure we're all in line with everything. But these were the main ones that were affected by this organizational chart.
Yeah, and that'll fall on the new general manager. whenever that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, yeah. But it's always a good time it's always good to review those, make sure we're up to date, make sure we have everything in line because changes occur in the organization and in the laws. So I surely appreciate it. And I have looked at those already, so I'll ask for comments from the board on any of those if they have them.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay? Anything? Nothing from you, David?
Nothing.
No, sir. Any comments from the public? If I hear no comments, I'm going to go ahead and ask for a vote on the job description revisions for the chief engineer, operations manager, construction supervisor, and water supply supervisor. There were 4 yeses, with the exception of Chuck Griffin, who abstained. So the motion passes. Thank you.
Oh, we didn't get a motion?
We didn't get a motion. No.
I thought we had a motion and a second. But
You went straight from the public to just taking a
oh,
vote.
boy, I just zipped through it. For some reason, I thought we had a motion. Okay, well, go ahead. Do we have a motion? I think when Ty made the motion. I remember, I'm not Ty, but not Ty. I'm sorry, Stan made the motion. I remember that.
Talk about instant
I just-
promotion.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right. So we got a motion and a second. Stan, I thought you did both of them, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's. Fine with me.
So we're okay. The motion passed.
Well, you want to confirm with a voice vote so that,
I suppose we
it's done in
should.
proper order?
Yeah. Go ahead, do a voice vote.
President Kaczynski,
Yes.
Vice President St. Amon,
Yes.
Director Griffin,
Abstain.
Director Rotora,
Yes.
Director Boyd.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I heard with the motion. Motion second. That's what I heard from Stan. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to Plant and Equipment Committee. Acceptance of contract work for the construction of trench pavement replacement. OnStat, who's handling that?
That would be me.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So for this fiscal year, we want to close out the work that's been performed by OnStock Construction. They have performed $250,285.11 worth of work, and the district is holding a retention of $12,514.20. So we would like to see that closed out so we can release retention, and then they will start work again the next fiscal year starting July 1st.
All right. Do I have any questions or concerns with the board on their work? It's been satisfactory, I take it?
Yes, we look at it, but also the city and county also take a look at it.
Okay, great. No comments there?
I have no comment.
Anything from the public? Okay, so I'm going to ask for a motion to accept the contract work for fiscal year 25-26 from OnStot Construction and release of the retention.
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll open it up for the vote. Thank you. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. So the next thing on the agenda here, it looks like recommendation to accept the contract work for,
It's a request.
sorry, numbers, the variance, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
This happens to also involve OnStock Construction.
okay.
They own, if you can go to the next slide, please. They own a parcel that is on Gordon Street, north of Church. It is a vacant lot. They're planning to do storage, just dry storage out there. But there are improvements that they're going to have to make, such as sidewalks and sewer and water and such. So they are requesting having a water service to that parcel. And there is a map on the next page, if you can go to that. So our policy does require a water main to be extended all along a property that's going to request service. So that means they would have to connect at Church, which is on the bottom there, and go all the way north up to what would be California Avenue. And it's just not necessary. So they're requesting a variance. There's nothing to connect to there in California. Plus all the other surrounding lots have access to water from other streets. So we're inclined to go ahead and ask the board to grant the variance and But we will, as usual, have a covenant running with the land filed so that in the future, for some reason that we may not foresee now, that water main would be extended at the cost bared by the property owner.
Okay.
Where is the proposed water main going to go in?
So the lot in question is the one that's highlighted there in blue. It would be connected Church, which is that line there on the bottom. That's Church.
Okay.
And then it would go north. That's Gordon, that street there on the left side of the property.
It just goes up to the corner of the.
Yeah, we'll probably have them go, 20 or 40 feet in
Okay.
with hydrant on the end and their service to their parcel.
Now, the city is also requiring sewage to that
Yes.
property, and the sewage is going to that corner roughly. as
That
well.
I don't know.
Oh, no?
No,
Okay, yeah.
that I don't know.
So it's probably for offices.
What is the city doing? Are they improving Gordon Street or California? What are they doing?
Yeah, they're requiring them to improve that area of Gordon Street.
Oh, really? Okay.
So is it Ward Street on the top?
No, that would be California
California.
if
Okay.
it went through there, yeah. It kind of,
And Church is
Dirt
on the
road.
bottom?
yes, sir.
Is there a line, or maybe I should, if we didn't give the waiver, what would the applicant be required to do?
They'd be required to install the line all the way up north to California.
I'm sorry, from where to where?
From Church to California.
Oh,
Yeah, you can zoom in and with your fingers, you can see the names of the streets
Yeah.
and stuff there, yeah.
from Church to California, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And do we still put on a statement that says if in the future there's a need for the line?
Yes.
At some future date?
Yep, that would be the covenant running with the land that would be filed with the county
Okay.
against the
So we're
property.
still, we're covering ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. I should have asked that during the P and E question,
That's okay.
thing, but, okay.
So like
Yeah.
if somebody decides to subdivide this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, over there on west of there.
That's the only thing I can think of, yeah, if it got subdivided. Yep,
Buy that 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah. Someone might do something west of there and it'd have to be extended.
yep.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah. So, so the recommendation from engineering is to approve the variance?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay. Do I have any other questions or comments from the board? Do I have any from the public? Nothing? All right, I'm hearing none. So I'm going to ask for a motion to grant the variance with the covenant running with the land requiring the construction of the pipeline across the entire frontage of the property for APN 477-02023.
So moved.
Second? Got a second? Stan seconded it? All right. With that, I'll call for the vote.
Oh,
Oh, I'm nothing's come up on mine. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. That's because I opened it up. I got it.
I gotta. spread
I
it
found it,
back.
yeah, I put it back down there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I know. This technical stuff, Stan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's technical stuff as well.
Okay, the motion passes with 5 votes unanimously. Thank you. All right, we're on to number 3. Request for variance of Kim Young for APN 354-2112 on
Yeah.
1360 North Brady Street.
Can go to the next slide. So the owner, this one's a little more complicated, not quite as straightforward as the first one we just did. This parcel fronts Brady Street, and it previously got water service from a well that was shared with their neighbor to the north. That well is no longer in service. That neighbor previously had water off of our Brady transmission line. Somehow they got a service way back when it was put in. That is no longer the case. That service was moved to a pipeline off of Reeves. So now the Youngs need water because they are not going to put that well back in service. And as of right now, they're continuing to get water from their neighbor, which is coming from the district. So let's go to the map that's on the next page. I'll wait for it to come up. So the Youngs own that parcel that's in blue. Their neighbor to the north, there's 1380 Brady Street. And as you can see to the top is Reeves Avenue. And very bottom part there is Ward, and Brady Street is on the left. So what they're proposing, sorry, I'm too close to the microphone there, is to go ahead and there's no easy answer, because doing a pipeline extension here would just end up, with hundreds of feet of pipe with one service on the end, almost like a dead end. It's not really practical. So what we're proposing is to go ahead and let them set a meter off of Reeves and get a easement from their neighbor to the north that allows them to run a water line to their property. There is a precedent for this. We have allowed this on some other parcels in the past. But I think we should definitely require there be an easement for it, because if the property changes ownership, that needs to be filed against the property so that, a future owner can't cut them off from their water service.
Right.
Currently, that neighbor is okay with the easement?
Yes, I have talked to that neighbor and he's willing to work with them on that. There is a pole line that goes back there behind their property. There's a 10-foot easement for poles, and he said, well, we could put it right up against that easement, so that doesn't affect anything he wants to do in the future with his property.
How big
He,
is the-
he also owns, that's owned by a gentleman named Mr. Sorensen. He also owns that larger parcel on the right that has all those dirt roads over there on there, and he in the future might combine those parcels. Yeah,
Where is 1380 getting their water? I see their meter comes off of the Reeves.
off Reeves.
Okay.
It no longer comes off Brady, even though it's still shown on
What
there.
are the two connections I see coming off of Ward there? You see some little lines.
On the right,
Yeah.
that's Brady. That's the old,
Brady.
that's incorrect in our GIS system.
Okay, there's nothing there.
No, not anymore.
Okay,
And there never was one off of that for the Young property.
for the Young
Yeah.
property. How long, what's the size of the pipe you're going to run from Reeves down to the Young property?
Well, the owner can run whatever size he wants, 1 or 2 inch.
Okay, but he's going to still be responsible for the meter costs and service costs? and all
Correct,
that?
yes.
Okay.
What is the orange line on the west side of the property?
That's the Brady Street transmission pipeline. The new one hasn't been updated to indicate the new 24-inch line that was put in, but that is the transmission pipeline on Brady.
How many services do we have on that transmission line?
None
There's
now.
none at all now?
Correct, no more.
So it's our policy not to provide service from a transmission?
Yes,
Okay, okay. If you go south, it looks like there is the property just south. It looks like there is a meter on that lot that's just south of the one in question.
yeah, there's a pipeline that's Ward Avenue, and we do have a pipeline there that any,
I'm sorry, I was referring, there's a blue dot coming off of the orange line halfway.
that's not correct.
Oh, that's not a meter.
No, sir. It shouldn't be there. That's an
Okay,
error.
it's really not there.
No, sir.
Oh, okay, well, in that case.
In there.
That's an error in the system.
Okay. So, yeah, I know we've done this before recently with, I remember another property. where they had
Pickerel.
to- That's right, exactly. And if they're willing to, they're responsible for putting the pipeline in or whatever they put in, and of course, they're, the meter costs and everything are being borne just like any other new hookup.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay. Is engineering and everybody down there agreement with this? Okay. With that.
Yeah, we had a lot of discussion on what would be the best answer to their conundrum.
Yeah.
Another clarification, I just thought about this, but from Reeves south, is that the customer's responsibility or?
Yes.
Mhm.
Anything beyond the meter is their
Okay, and the
responsibility.
meter would be where that little blue square is off Reeves at the upper,
Right.
Okay.
It would be near that, yes.
so it's theirs. Okay.
Where's he been getting his water?
He's getting it from the neighbor to the north of him still,
I think-
who has a hookup to the district.
I think it's much better to do it this way.
Yeah, I think so.
I completely agree. If we put in a extension, it's just gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, it'll just,
It'll
we'll have to
benefit.
blow it off. Yeah.
I'm glad the neighbor's cooperating.
Yeah, I'm glad, yeah, definitely. All right. Do I have any comments from the public? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the variance with the provisions that an easement of width agreeable to both parties be recorded against both properties that allow a water service to connection to Reeves Avenue for Kim Young, APN 354-021-12, 1360 North Brady. Do I hear a motion?
Also move.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll call for the vote. Oop, gotta shrink it down again.
Mm.
Unanimous vote, 5 yeses. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item D, comprehensive groundwater adjudication. Mr. Attorney, do you have anything new to report?
Not really tonight. All that's happened since the last board meeting is the expert depositions have concluded. There may be one or two that have to have a couple, little bit more of the deposition testimony, but for the most part, all of the technical expert depositions have concluded. And we're working towards the June 1st trial date, and that's about all.
Okay.
Didn't you mention something about Mr. Brown?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, last time there was a hearing on April 6th, and during that, there were a couple pretrial motions that were heard. They were both brought by the Groundwater Authority, and they were trying to limit the testimony at the time of the Phase 2 trial. The first one was directed at Anthony Brown, who was initially retained by Mojave Pistachios, but after they settled the water district, we subpoenaed Anthony Brown, and we planned on calling him as a witness, and the GA objected, and the judge denied the GA's request. There was a similar request to prevent any testimony regarding the amount of groundwater in storage during the Phase 2 trial, but the judge again denied the motion and will allow some testimony into the amount of groundwater in storage as it does relate to the city field in some aspects. That's about it. It's getting hard to talk.
Thank you. I didn't mean to make you talk, but those are two important points for the public to hear.
They are, and thank you for reminding me now.
Are there any other comments or questions from the board about the adjudication?
No.
Are there any from the public? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item E, Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority, report and discussion regarding the meetings of the Groundwater Authority, including board discussion and considerations of issues importance of the next meeting, which I guess is now scheduled for May 13th, because the one was canceled this month, right?
Right, the Groundwater Authority meeting, which would have been held last Wednesday, was canceled. No reason for the cancellation was given in the notice.
So there's really nothing to report on your
Have
part
nothing to
about any of
report.
this. Okay. Does the board have anything they want to comment on here? All right. Hearing none, anything from the public? Any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to item F, Water Resource Development Act overview of the important water pipeline project. And I believe that our general manager, George, is going to do a presentation. Is that where we're headed now?
That's correct.
Okay. And Jim, you won't need to talk. Okay. You can just relax, take it easy.
I'm sure Jim will correct me if he needs to.
Yeah.
So, at the request of the board, I looked into WRDA. There was a lot of terms being thrown around and confusion about what was exactly going on and the likelihood of funding. So I spent some time researching WRDA and the project that was proposed. And let's go to the next slide. And I'm going to give the executive summary first because there's a lot of details that follow this. So a lot of this presentation is going to look at the historical level of appropriations, i.e. the money that the government has funded to WRDA environmental infrastructure projects. And my general conclusion, unless the GA wants to sort of, come forward with some sort of evidence to the contrary, is that it's really unlikely that they're going to get much, if any, funding out of this WRDA environmental infrastructure program. And why do I say that? So as you'll see in these slides, the environmental infrastructure program is grossly underfunded, number of projects and dollars requested versus the amount given. This documented primarily in this Congressional Research Service 2025 report. There's also recommended changes to this program in that report because of the fact that it's so badly underfunded. There's executive branch guidance that says they shouldn't even be starting new projects. And because of the sort of contentious nature of this project, it's really highly unlikely that a congressional earmark would be given. And that's really probably the only likely way that you would get funding for this project. So once again, would love to hear the GA's contrary, evidence that they are going to get somewhere near the 150 million they've requested, but I don't see evidence, and I'll sort of go through this presentation to show you why. So we'll start with sort of a little background in the next slide. So WRDA terminology, section 219F. This is where you see this 75% federal, 25% local funding. And that's an important thing to keep in the back of your mind as I go through this presentation. The 75% means the government will pay for 75% of the cost. Eventually in this presentation, I'll get to the point where I compare it to other programs, and you'll see that that's an attractive thing to say, wow, the government's going to pay 75%. So that's why this slide is there, is really to point that out. It's also important to point out that these are not part of the Army Corps of Engineers' primary mission. So this is sort of a secondary mission for the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's also going to be an important fact to keep in the back of your head about what they really do and what they, where this fits in their priorities. So let's go to the next slide. And because this is a lengthy presentation, I should say, members of the board, feel free to interrupt me at any point in time with questions.
And I'm gonna say, don't hurt, I mean, this is important stuff. So don't
Right.
feel like you have to fly through this thing.
Yeah, it's a long presentation. Okay.
We don't want to be here till like midnight.
Yeah, well, I've never been accused of talking too much, so, oh, wait, that is the most common thing I'm accused of. So let's just talk about what is this environmental infrastructure program. There's a lot of programs under WRDA. This one was first authorized in the 1992 WRDA, and the projects for wastewater, water treatment, and storage. And so one of the things I researched was the latest executive branch guidance. Now, the executive branch doesn't control the funding, but they can give their input into what they think the Army Corps of Engineers should be doing with the money that they get from Congress. And what they say in this 2025 guidance is that environmental infrastructure programs and projects are inconsistent with executive branch policy for civil works. And no agreements should be signed that contemplate future unfunded increments of work. That's not law, but what it's really saying is the executive branch doesn't support any start of any of the numerous environmental infrastructure projects, including the current one requested by the GA. So let's go to the next slide. So understanding the authorizations. So there's WRDA authorizes projects. It says, yes, here's a project for which you could get money from Congress. But WRDA does not appropriate money. It doesn't hand any money out. And so what this has led to is sort of this questions like how many projects have been authorized under this environmental infrastructure program, and how much money is available to actually get these projects started and completed. And here's what we know. In total, there have been 598 projects authorized for somewhere above $18 billion. 400 of these projects remain in work, partially funded or unfunded. And we noticed that in the last two WRDAs, that 18 billion is growing. In 2022, it grew by $4.256 billion. In 2024, it grew by another $3.3 billion. There's going to be another one in 2026. It's probably going to grow by several $1 billion more. So what we see is billions of dollars and numerous projects being added to this environmental infrastructure list of programs that are authorized but don't have money. So I talked a little bit, this Congressional Research Service, now that's a part of the Library of Congress, and what they do is they write reports that advise Congress about various programs and issues that might be going on with them. And I've got a few copies here. If there were people that can get them, we probably will post this report up on our website as well at some point in the future.
question. Is there any indications of how they prioritize these authorizations? Is it first in, first out? Is it, or is it the appropriation process itself, the first step of real prioritization occurring?
I will get to that. So
Okay.
I'm not quite there yet, and I will, there's a three-path thing that I'm going to get to here shortly. So first, I think I'm going to start getting to that on the next slide. So it was a perfectly timed question. Let's go to the next slide. So
Get the envelope on the floor.
look at that. There's three ways that they authorize, that funding can be authorized or appropriated for an authorized projects. One is a congressional earmark. So you go to your congressman or your senator and you say, hey, I would like you to put this on the list of, things we would like to see done. The other one is there's what's called additional funding in the work plan. Now, where you go back to this work plan, that's the actual primary, the Water and Energy Appropriations Act. That's where money actually comes from. You can put money in there. That doesn't happen all that often, and it's not very much. Or there's carve-outs and supplemental bills. What that means is if they pass a special bill, like there was a hurricane relief bill where I think they put $300 million into this, and it was kind of targeted towards relief projects in areas where the hurricane affected it. So what we also know, so that answered your question first, and I kind of went to the bottom of the slide, but there are also 400 different environmental infrastructure authorities that are currently available to get funding for, and what the Army Corps of Engineer program development guidance. So this is what the Army Corps of Engineer gives its project managers to say, hey, this is how you should prioritize projects. It says, I'm just going to quote it, there are 400 different EI authorities. Each one comes with different funding caps, geographic focus areas, types of assistance requirements, et cetera. EI authorities are distinct from traditional civil works missions. Therefore, environmental infrastructure has been a lower budget priority and generally excluded from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers budget recommendation. That's when we get into the ways they can get funding. So what you see, this goes back to this is not a core mission of the Army Corps of Engineers. It's sort of a secondary mission, and they don't take the primary money they get and put it towards a project, probably unless they get a specific earmark or it's called out in a supplemental bill. So let's go to the next one.
Thank you.
You bet. So there's three paths to funding. This just gives a little more detail on that question you asked. So this energy and water development and related agencies bill, there's billions of dollars in there. So if I think the next slide, you'll see the amounts of money that get put into the work plan for additional funding. You'll also see it broken out like these supplemental bills. You'll see that in the next chart. I talked about this Disaster Relief Supplemental Appropriation Act of 2025. And then there's the member of Congress may earmark funding for a specific EI project. And you'll see that on the next slide as well. So what I did learn, got to learn a little more at Congress, members of Congress were limited to 15 earmarks per year. I believe that's been increased to 20 for 2026 based on my review of the latest guidance. So that's a little bit of a caveat there that needs to be corrected. Senators don't have a limit on the number of earmarks they can request for their state or area, but the total can't be more of the total budget combined. And those earmarks can be put into almost any bill that they can sort of get it into, but typically you would see it in the Energy and Water Development Related Agencies bill. So let's go to the next slide, and this is a direct sort of cut and paste of a graph that's in this Congressional Reporting Service report to Congress. And so what you see at the top line is here's how much money they've actually given in total for the whole country, for the 400 projects that are out there, or there's 598 to start with, since 2020 through 2025. And you see that, in 20, it was 100 million total, 100 million, 299 in 2022. In fiscal 23, it dropped to 168 million. 2024, it was almost 200 million. in 2025, it was one of these supplemental funding bills for the storm damage. It was 300 million. So it's about 200 million a year. And then you see, when you see this first line, CDS is congressionally directed spending. That's if the Senate asks for it. And community project funding, CPF, is if your congressman in the House Representative asks for it. And so you see in 2020, with all of the hundreds and hundreds, there's what, 400 and, how many congressmen do we have? And they each get 15 requests. And in 2020, they didn't get any approved for this particular program. In 21, they got none. And then in 22, 23, 24, they got some very small amounts, but that's for all of the congressmen in all of the districts across the entire United States, and then none in 25. The work plan additional funding is funding that was specifically targeted in the water and related agencies appropriations bill. So they were given 100 million in 2021, 13 million, and it went down to basically nothing by 2025. And then there are these supplemental bills, which are typically storm damage related or something else. You can also see sort of the number of projects that money was given to there. So what you see is that they're not giving very much money at all to these projects, particularly when you think about the number of earmarks that can be requested and the number of projects that are out there. And we go to the next slide, which is
George, a quick question.
Yes.
That, on that slide, that's money that's been appropriated?
Yeah, that's
That-
the money.
That's money they have to spend.
That's how much money they got
Wow.
to spend to buy down their $18 billion. So we'll go to the next slide,
Okay.
big bold.
Could I
You
ask
just-
one question
could
too,
you-
just so I'm clear on
Oh,
that
go
chart?
ahead.
Oh, you're still talking.
No, I want to go back to the chart for just a bit. I just want to make sure I understand. So basically, that's the money that's been appropriated. There's still a vast amount of projects out there that are, I guess you can call allocated, but not appropriated.
Correct.
So you're telling me that in 2024, when the 150 million was asked for, they only appropriated what, 179, 180, something like that? Yeah, a million, yeah.
Yeah, nationwide.
Nationwide.
Or that's how much all 400 eligible projects got.
Wow. Okay, that's what, I'm done.
So what does this mean?
Hang on, I think Chuck has a question.
I just want to reiterate kind of what Ron did, because I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. I'm going to use 2024 because that's what you used. It looks like they funded 197 million, is that correct?
That's the total at the top. That's the sum of 179.
And there was, at that time, there was 498 projects, is that?
Yeah.
accurate?
Around 400
Yeah.
projects.
Okay,
There's
so
probably a
it
little
looks
few more.
like number of funded authorities was
Yeah.
44.
Yeah,
So 10% of what they turned in of the projects got funding that were appropriated. Is that correct, or am I reading it?
So you just have to understand that the project list, it keeps growing. So some of those projects might have been submitted in 1992
uh,
and never gotten funded. So they've been generating projects and authorizing projects since the 1990s, like how they've, to Mallory's question, like how they decide what gets funding. There may be projects that have been sitting there for 20 years. So like they put money towards 44 of these projects,
Okay,
and
I was reading it right.
and if you-
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
and if you look at that bottom line, the number of community funded or congressionally directed is the majority. You see 48 of the, so when you start looking at the number of projects funded and you look below it and you see almost everything that gets funded is coming out of one of these requests.
Mhm.
That's what's important about that line item. So you see that, for 2024, there were 48 CPF, CDS items for the 44 that got funded. So you think that's an inference that the only projects getting funded are those that are getting earmarks.
Where Chuck's coming from, I think, is that that's an average of 5 million per project.
4.5.
4.5 million per project,
Yeah.
and only 10% of
the total projects.
the total projects
Requested,
that were
yeah.
out. I mean, and it looks like it's lower than 10%.
Right.
But that's what scares me, is 90% of those people have been told, oh yeah, you got the money appropriated, but they didn't really get it.
Authorized.
So is that kind of
It's
where I'm coming
authorized.
from? Am I right or wrong?
Let's go to the next slide and see if I summarized.
Hang on, we got one more question.
Two more comments.
So clarify FY 2025, is it just not complete or?
No, as far as I know, and the report didn't say there was anything missing. They just said that the only funding for 2025 was from this, the hurricane project. What was, I had the name
Yeah,
of
for
it
naming the
here.
hurricane, the one that hit North
Yeah,
Carolina.
yeah, I don't
Where that
remember
money went.
exactly. I stuck the name of that one, but yeah, there was a storm-related damage project that appropriated 300 million, and my understanding from the report is that the vast majority of that money went to projects in the storm-related the storm damage-related areas to help fix problems that were identified or projects that were sitting there to,
Yeah.
you know, kind of
Makes
clean up
sense.
after the mess.
It's important, I think, to note that the groundwater authority's plan for funding the pipeline assumes they're going to get 3 increments of $50 million each, and I don't see that
think that's where-
reflected anywhere in these numbers.
Yeah, I think that's where George is headed. Okay,
Okay. So let's go to the big slide. So this is my math. This is the way I looked at it. So they authorized $18 billion in environmental infrastructure project, but they're only appropriating about 200 million. You do the math, that means just for the projects that have already been authorized, it would take them 90 years to buy down that bill at the rate they're funding it. And this is what that report to Congress says you have a massive problem here. You keep authorizing these projects as if they're going to get done, but no one's giving them any money. And as I talked about before, in 2026, there's going to be billions more added to that list, which is going to push that number out well beyond 100 years before things get funded. So you start looking at that and you go, what are we doing here? And that's what the congressional report really is, in a very nice way, saying. So that's what, and when you hear people talk about it, they go like, well, that's what an oversubscribed program means. That's what that fancy language means. It means you're saying people that these projects are okay, but we're not going to give any money. So the next slide summarizes some of the recommendations out of this report to Congress. So it says, Congress, you can deauthorize projects. Like, why don't you do that? And the Congress has not done that. And it's certainly within the authority that they have, but they haven't done it. Okay, yeah, shocking. It also sort of infers that this is because, as we stated earlier, this is not a primary Army Corps of Engineer mission, and there are other ways to fund these projects, which we will get to. They kind of say, Congress, you should consider whether this is a good idea to even have this program in existence. There are other ways to get these done with via state revolving fund. We'll talk about some of those programs later. And they really question Congress, like, what are you doing here? You're sort of making promises to people that you're not going to be able to fund. And then to Mallory's point, it says, you really need to clearly define how you prioritize these projects. And I know, Mallory, coming from your background, you had a rack and stack, and there was a line drawn against the funding line probably, and that's how I'm used to seeing it done. On this one, I don't even know how you do it. You're giving a few million to each of these projects that are really, even if you get, as Chuck said, probably most of those projects, even if they got money, it probably wasn't enough to finish the projects. So you might have these projects that go on for years and years, getting a little bit here, a little bit there. And that probably explains why the executive branch said, no new starts, because they probably, I can't guarantee this, but in all likelihood, they probably have a whole bunch of projects out there that are sort of halfway done or halfway funded, given the sort of nature of what you see in the figures here. Now, that is my speculation, but I don't think it's an unreasonable one. So they talk about trying to figure out, if you're going to do this, you got to find a way to prioritize it better than what we're doing today. So now we'll move on to some specifics about the GA and the next one. So what are they doing to fund the pipeline? So last October, the GA packet had a letter in it that or some notes in it, that they're working to execute an agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers under the Planning Assistance to States program. We heard about that. We've heard they're in negotiations. We haven't seen an actual agreement. We do know that the past program, you can't do construction. It's something that they would do to try to further along their, I assume, their design and right-of-way acquisitions and other things for the program. And this one has a 50-50 funds matching requirement. And then there was a line item in the 26 GA budget for Stetson for planning assistance to state. I'm not really sure what that is for, but it is related to that program. So it appears they're moving forward with working with the Army Corps of Engineers to try to get at least the design and planning phases of this project done. More importantly, in November of 2025, the GA board approved a $5 million earmark, the term we're normally used to hearing. And I have a couple copies of that letter up there signed by Mr. Heyman. And so this would be it's not a community project funding. I got the wrong one. It's a congressionally directed spending request because it was sent to Senators Padilla and Schiff. And so it's for $5 million. And so, they have put a request out there for an earmark. Now, when a congressman or a senator gets one of those earmarks, their staff works through it. They get hundreds of these requests and they have to decide which ones they want to put forward. And even of the ones they put forward, the majority don't get funding. Just so you know the reality of what that means.
Clarify for me, isn't that 5 million you're requesting sort of a loan on the 50 million they requested?
It would be the first $5 million disbursement of the actual 50
They're
million.
asking for a loan on money they don't have.
Well, they would have to come up with the matching 1.25 million.
Yeah,
just
before
like-
they get, yeah, exactly.
They would have to do that. So what are the other options that they had? And I wanted to look into this to say, like, let's compare, like, why would they have chosen that particular one? So first, we're going to talk about WIFIA and the State Revolving Fund. These are both loan programs, and they're the normal way you would get a lot of these bigger projects done. But because they require you to pay the money back, and they require you to have a credit rating that allows you to get a very large loan, it seems like the combination of those two things. One, if they went with one of those programs, they would have to pay back the full price of the project, where under this other program with the 75% funding from the government, they can at least claim that we're going to get most of it paid for by the government, where these are just loan programs and the cost would have to be passed along 100% to the people that live here in the valley. So I think I can understand why they didn't go that direction. Okay, next slide. There are other grant programs. There's a Water Smart federal grant program. That one, of course, has a 25% federal share and is only for recycling projects. So I don't think they would like the 25% versus the 75% they're looking for. Renee's gonna have to help me out here again. Water system, infrastructure resilience. Yeah. That one's being.
Yeah, they call it same thing.
I looked it up that one time,
Looked it up.
and I don't.
I'm sorry. But this is the one they're using to help finish the design of the project. And I'm sorry that I forgot that acronym again. But yeah, so they're using that one and they're getting grant. There's also California grant programs. There's this Prop 1 from 2014. That one allows the state to pay 50%. There's recycling grants. Well, of course, we're not doing recycling there, so that wouldn't be applicable. That would be a 35% state share. So once again, you see far less than the 75%. There's a water storage investment program, which is 50%, not for the pipelines, but certainly, boy, water storage would be a great thing to invest in here, seems like. I think what you're really talking about there is like, things like groundwater storage banking and things like that, ASR. There's a new Prop 4 limited funding for SGMA-related projects. I would assume the GA is probably looking to get funding out of this program as well, as are we. So, that's sort of what other options exist. So I think I understand why they went with, at least I can speculate as to why they went with the environmental infrastructure path, because of the high level of potential funding. But, as compared to these other programs, but if money's not going to come, that doesn't do you much good.
But it's, in my opinion, it's probably easy to get something on that allocation list. And even though it's not appropriated, and once you do that, then you can go back to your citizens and say, look, I got this money on the list.
Yes.
But as you show here, it could be 90 to 100 years away from, if ever. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's more of a public relations thing. Say, hey, I got it on the list.
Yeah, and at $5 million a year,
Yeah.
I don't know, how long would that take to build?
Yep.
Quite a while.
I agree with you. That's my concern, Ron.
Yeah.
We've heard that we've got funding, so I would like the GA to come back, and I'm sure somewhere watching, I'd like them to answer that question.
Yeah.
Is there something different than what George found?
Right.
Because what I've heard and what my understanding is, we got the money, but did we just get appropriated and that's where it's at? Because if we're not funded, that needs to be said.
Yeah, we got authorized, but not
Concerns me,
appropriated.
yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay,
In the meantime, we're still spending money, money and spending money,
Of course.
and we're just throwing good money after bad.
yeah, so
right.
that gets to almost my last slide.
All right.
All right,
You're going to make it before 7 o'clock.
there we go. So what does all this mean? My assessment is the chances of the environmental infrastructure project that it'll get funded are low or not at all, especially absent community support. Like if you're gonna get a congressman or a senator to earmark money and really get a project going, you really need to have the community behind you fully, you know? And so that's obviously not happening. As I said, the direct earmark from the previous slide, that seems the only reasonable path for funding. You know, like I said, it's not unreasonable giving the high cost share by the government. However, you know, it's also worth saying that the environmental infrastructure authorization is not limited to just an imported water pipeline projects. Other projects could be proposed under the word authority if the community could get behind it and everybody could march in the same direction, which would be great. You know, there's options for recycled water. There's capture LA DWP overflows and storm flows in wet years. Maybe try to figure out a way to get water banking somewhere in our valley. You know, so there are other options to look at as well if we can all get on the same page. And with that, I am done with my presentation.
Wow, I think you did pretty darn good.
Good presentation, George.
Good,
Thank
good,
you.
good presentation. It helps clear some things up. It's a complex issue. And I know you spent a lot of time and effort, and I truly appreciate it. I know that we sit here and talk about that word, it could be used for other projects, but it looks like even those other projects could be not get the money. I mean, it's just not money easy to get once it's on a list.
Yeah, well, and think about it, if you were asking for a $5 million project
Yeah,
instead of a 200 million or a $400 million
Yeah.
project, you know, you might get some funding
Right.
that's reasonable, you know, and there are, you know, the stormwater that came in 2023 and flowed through, you know,
That's right.
Watkins property, it's not a $50 million project to build, you know, to go through the
Capture,
permitting,
yeah.
build a basin to capture that kind of water, and it is definitely would provide a benefit. So
Okay,
those are things to think of as well.
so I'll open up the questions for the board or the staff, if they have any for George.
I was, can our rep to the GA request the GA to come up with more justification for why they're following the funding that they are? Is it-
I'm gonna be interested to see, I'm sure they're watching this, or they're gonna know about this. I'm gonna see if they say something.
We'd have to get it on the agenda for the
Yeah.
meeting. I don't,
They didn't put anything on the agenda that the water district asked for, I can tell you that.
know. Well, we can try, but,
Yeah.
Well, they have, their agenda always includes a topic about the imported water line project and word of funding. So those topics are always on the GA
Yeah.
agenda.
You're right.
well, I can certainly bring it up. And given the description in the presentation, any additional expenditures towards work on the word of funding seems pretty unwise, since
Yeah.
its the probability of even getting it funded is approaching zero.
George, are you gonna have this presentation along with any, you mentioned there were some other attachments with it, pretty, you know, it's a lot to read, but are you gonna have that on our website?
Yeah, we'll get that put up tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, any other questions or
Yeah,
comments?
just a
Yes.
comment. It's thank you for the briefing. It was very good. I would like to point out a footstop, something you mentioned about the 300 million. When you have a national recognition of a disaster zone, a truly no kidding disaster zone, the money goes away. I mean, it goes away from these projects. It gets prioritized for something that's got a lot of political support, and boom, off it goes. And that's why you didn't see anything in 2025 for any of the other projects. All it takes, right, is a hurricane. It'd be interesting to look at the previous years. Maybe this is a nuisance drill, but to see if there were other large allocations like Lahaina. I know that was fire, but you know, there are other emergencies that have happened on the national stage that were somehow quickly funded out of cycle. Yeah, the money was already appropriated elsewhere and reprioritized.
Yeah, if you pick up that congressional report, there are a couple of pretty good charts. One is the funding by state, and you can see sort of like by year and by state. So like California got $2 million in this year and 4 million. I don't think there's any year where California ever received more than $20 million ever. You'll see that a lot of the, the big hitters, Louisiana, places with lots of flood control, Mississippi River, places that have big harbors. You see a lot of funding going towards those types of states as well.
Tennessee Valley Water Authority.
I think, well, when you think about the Army Corps' traditional mission, which is levees and flood control, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't using every bit of this money they could to help complete their own primary mission, because as we saw with I think it was Hurricane Katrina, the poor Army Corps just took a beating over the levees that failed and stuff. So I think you can imagine a world where if I worked for the Army Corps, I would be putting every dime I could get towards the things that are really going to hurt me in the future. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate the brief.
Are we ready to open up to the public for questions? Looks like it. Are there any questions or comments from the public? I'll bet there is. So I have a caller. So number one caller, state your name and come online.
Yes, this is Renee Westelusk. I just want to know, this congressional report, is it on the internet? Like, where did you have to go to a committee website in the House to get this report?
I was having some email conversations with some people at the Army Corps of Engineers who actually sent me that report. It is available on the web somewhere. They sent me a link to it, and I will post it up on our website, and I can put the link to that as well on the Army Corps website.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
thank you.
Doesn't every representative have their own list of earmarks?
Yeah, it's a requirement. So you can see the, at this point, you can see the 2026 earmarks, and they're just finalizing the 2027 earmarks to go to the various appropriations committees at this point in time.
I'm sorry, Renee, were you finished? I guess so. Okay. Any other questions from the public? Going once? Going twice? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, George, very much. I know a lot of work went into that. And knowing you, you'll probably still refine some things on it as you look at it more.
Yeah, you never get anything perfect, but that
That's-
was,
yeah.
I tried as much as I could to just rely on things that were published independently of, and I
Right.
caveated things where I made assumptions.
But try to get everything on our webpage that you can, your presentation along with any connections and reports that you've looked at as well.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll move on to, it's back to George again, item G, General Manager's update.
Well, you guys get your overload of George today. Okay, nothing as far as significant events, nothing that we're not going to talk about elsewhere. Pertinent legislative updates. So there's a number, 1413 doesn't seem to be moving anywhere at this time. There's one that's proposed, which is Senate Bill 1125, which is a water rate assistance program. And it could impact us because the state might try to put together a program so they can help low income or disadvantaged people, or maybe people who didn't pay their water bill. But they're trying to figure out how to fund it, which probably means more taxes for us at some level or some new requirements. So probably one we want to follow because it might require us to do something to collect funds in some way to support this program. So I'm going to track that one. This AB 2026 is a water diversions groundwater recharge permit. And it's interesting. So what it talks about is like when you have something like the 2023 event where all the stormwater or the LADWP overflows just came flowing into our valley. I think this, if I read it correctly, and I need to clarify this, but my simplistic version is they say you don't need a permit to collect that water, which is really nice of the state of California.
That'd be first, yeah, for California.
So,
Are you sure it didn't say you need 100 permits?
I don't know, but that's the way it seemed to be leaning. So
Well,
we'll
what do we
be,
do
we'll be
about
looking closer.
BLM? We still need to get
Yeah,
permit
whatever.
from BLM.
No,
right?
Yeah, that's why I feel it's a little unclear. It kind of says, it didn't really say what permit you didn't need, but but we're gonna try to track that legislation because it could impact us here in our attempts to collect stormwater runoff. And then there was an important one for you guys, AB 2568, Water District Directors Compensation. So it's some bill that's is yet again gonna limit how much we can, I think it limits you to 10 days a month of like you can be paid or something. So we'll check that just so we make sure we're in
I
compliance.
think the
with state
original
law.
bill was going to 20 days, and the one being presented now is 15 days.
Yeah, okay.
It may get dwindled back down to 10, so it's
Which
okay.
is 5 more than we get now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
okay, so, nothing significant to report in, injury and safety, which is always good, so we'll move on.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Committee meetings and topics. So Stan had a couple of requests. So Stan, this is your chance to discuss your request about a letter to the county. I don't think I got this notice. I'd like to want to clarify with Jim. I didn't get this properly addressed in the board package, but Stan had asked for it, so I put it in my GM update, but I don't think the board should probably take action on it. It was a kind of a request by Stan. I just want to make sure we're clear on this one.
Stan, is this about the rotation on the GA related to that and the payment of the fees?
I'm sorry. Item B is, yes, the board having a discussion regarding putting an initiative together for the November election, basically eliminating the replenishment fee. We don't need a lawsuit, we don't need a lot of legal jargon. We don't need evidence because it's simply a matter of the public saying, we don't want to pay it anymore.
Understood.
And the other one is a letter to the county who is not living up to their obligations of the joint JPA and the bylaws. They're supposed to be providing both the chairman and a lawyer, and right now they're doing neither. So my feeling is, and what I would prefer, although obviously that's what the discussion is about, is that they either comply with the JPA and the bylaws, or they drop out of the GA.
Stan, I prepared something along those lines. I just did not have time to get it out before today's board meeting. I'll get you that this week to see if it's in the direction that you're thinking.
Okay. I appreciate it because we can't really spend a lot of time on this because it wasn't on the agenda. Okay. So yeah, when you get your voice back, give Stan a call and let him know where you are. I appreciate it.
Okay, and I apologize for not getting this on the agenda, Stan.
That's okay, George.
I do too, but I've been busy.
All right, so,
It was in the meeting minutes, by the way. Isabel did her job.
yeah. So, okay, so we'll talk about, public outreach. So there was a Taxpayers Association meeting last Thursday. We attended and the Water District attended a conservation in the Indian Wells Valley at Matarango Museum on the 14th of March. We were also at the Home and Leisure Show on March 21st and 22nd. And I spoke at the Republican Club on March 20th. So we were out there in the community doing what we need to do and talking to people.
Great.
Okay, next slide.
Oops, I'm sorry. Could you go back one?
Sure.
The Republican Club, I believe, is March 24th.
I could very well be wrong on that, Stan. Yeah.
Okay, it's a Friday.
Oh, what was it, the
of that
last
week.
one? Okay, okay, I looked at the calendar, maybe I looked.
And
at
by the way, it's going to be the city mayor who is the speaker.
At the next one?
Yes.
And what
Mayor
date is that?
Endicott, yes.
What date is that one?
I believe it's 24th, but it's the Friday. and it was
Of April?
pushed
Okay.
out. 1 week because that was when he was available apparently.
Are they still meeting at Casey's, the new Casey's?
Yes.
Okay. All right,
Okay. Next slide.
yeah, 24th.
Conference, just some notices about conferences. The spring conference for Aqua is May 5 to 7. Should we be fortunate enough to have a new general manager, the CSDA GM Leadership Summit is June 28th and 30th. A 2026 Special Districts Leadership Academy, which is primarily focused towards board members, is sort of out there. And if any board members are interested in taking that, we get extra bonus points from CSDA for having board members attend. And they talk a lot about the role of the board and various financial and administrative functions. So if there's
I'm
any
wondering if
board
that's the
members
one we've
interested-
all attended already, because I know when Lauren was here, she pushed us to all to attend that.
Okay.
Because, but I just want to make sure. And I think I asked the question, do you need to do it yearly, or once you do it, you do it? I don't know.
I'm going to leave that to Isabel.
She'll find out. Look in our records, yeah.
Okay. And then August 24 to 27 is CSDA's annual conference in Palm Desert.
All right.
So let us know if you're interested. And next slide.
Items B and C, if we can get a general manager hired, that might be a good break-in for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
I hear Palm Desert's lovely in August as well.
As long as you stay in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Renee, over to you.
Oh, I got to open this one up a little bit. There we go.
Okay, we have a couple of the consolidations to discuss. As far as I know, we don't have anything really new about the Indian Current CSD, except perhaps the state might be planning another public meeting towards the end of this month, but I have not seen any announcement about that. Anything you want to add to that, George? No? Okay. Okay. So move on to Rademacher and / Gordon Street. That is that phase 2 of that project. The GA has hired a right-of-way consultant to get the last few easements out there. So once we can get those in place, the district can then order parts and materials and get a crew on that project. But right now, we're waiting for those last easements to be in place.
Did you get that signed document to April? Because I keep getting it online again to
Yes.
to sign. Okay.
Yeah, she sent me a copy of the
It
final
must be set
PDF.
up on an automatic thing and.
Oh, maybe because you did it
I did it here,
in
yeah.
person instead
Right.
of online. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
but that was for Stark Street.
Yeah, yes, for Stark Street. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So I'll just move on to Dune 3. We do have an agreement signed between Dune 3 and the district. That's finalized. We did get permission from the State Water Resources Control Board to proceed to bid. I had a meeting last Thursday with the engineering consultant, GHD, and we discussed timing for advertising the contract and opening bids and awarding. So tentatively, right now, we're looking at opening bids May 27th and awarding the project our June board meeting. And Stark Street, we did file our CEQA exemption. And this will be a project that will be completed via a change order, which I also discussed with the GHD last week. And they're willing to, work on that and collaboratively with us in the GA. And staff and legal will be working with LAFCO to get that emergency connection permission there. And that's where we're at.
I noticed at the north end of Brady today that we're installing a new hole.
That will be my next update, sir.
Oh.
You are on the ball today.
The head of everything. I'm behind and you're ahead. What's going on here?
Are we working with LAFCO on anything other than that emergency thing? I mean, I thought we had.
At this
multiple-
time, that is it. That there will be future work with LAFCO on consolidations.
We have a point of contact, right? So they know who to contact here.
Absolutely, yes. Mhm. So we'll move on to Brady. Pressure testing was completed, chlorination completed, the bacteriological sampling was done. Those came back all negative. So the crew this morning began the tie-in process at Indian Kern Road. And they'll be continuing that tomorrow. The county requires us to be closing that hole up every day. So they closed it up and then they'll have to uncover it tomorrow to continue that work. So they installed a total of 2,675 lineal feet of 24-inch PVC pipe, 4 fire hydrants. We're waiting for 2 more hydrants to come in to get those installed.
Right.
And so once they're done at the tie-in on the north end, they will go down to Ward, get that in, and then get the Ward Avenue tied in, and so they can get that complete and that pipeline online.
Okay, so when do you expect it to be completely online?
Oh,
Come on. Be like,
Probably,
Director Boyd.
probably next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, are y'all done?
If you'd like, I can send a bill to Kern County for filling and digging that hole up again.
Yeah,
I
really.
won't pay it, but I can send one.
You might as well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering where those orange cones went in Justin's office. I thought you were using them over there.
Okay.
I know.
So first item here for the financial update is the year-to-date water use. You can see we're down a little bit from 2025. Total billed consumption year-to-date in 2025 was just under 1.8 million 100 cubic feet. And we're just under 1.7 million 100 cubic feet. So we had
Can I
little-
get you to
little
send
wetter.
me the hard copy of this and as well as last month's?
hard copy or PDF? Or I'll send it to you, one way
Thank
or
you.
another.
Yeah, I know, there's a million ways to do it.
100,000.
I know you put it in HCF because that's how you bill.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have little parentheses with acre feet there. That's what everyone seems to understand, is acre,
You
feet,
would
at least in
like-
the totals,
If you like acre feet, I'll do that.
Ron,
on the totals.
Yeah,
You don't have to do it by the monthly consumption, but well, maybe people are interested in that.
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
it.
that's what everybody seems to understand now with the, yeah.
it's intuitive. It's a direct implication of how much money we're bringing in.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're not going
It's
to,
more than just
yeah,
water.
yeah, that's right.
Or delivery.
Exactly, but it tells 2 stories.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're fine. Okay, for the financial report and status, we're 3/4 through the way of 2026. We have actual revenues of 13.56 million, which is about 560,000 below budget. You see, we're actually pretty close on water sales, and that's because when we do the budget, we typically do it at 95%
Right.
to be conservative for the reasons of the previous slide. We are down on the capital contributions. Those probably won't realize this year because that is getting reimbursed for those like Dune 3 and Rademacher and Stark Street. So those will probably push over into the following fiscal year. For expenditures, we're just under 13 million or 1.2 million below budget. So our net is a positive, just about 600,000, where we anticipated being just below net zero at negative 90,000 when we did the budget. So we're ahead as overall with our net. Capital expenditures to date, just over 1.8 million, and 1.3 million of that is funded either through the grants or the bond proceeds. Most of it, the bond proceeds for Brady Street. You see a GSA extraction fee paid to date at just over 3.7 million, and replenishment fee at 15.8 million.
Okay.
Any
Thank you.
questions? Nothing on that? Okay.
Nothing, nope.
Water Smart notifications, that has ticked up this month to just over 1,000 leak alerts were sent in the.
Everybody's turning their stuff back on,
Yeah.
saying, oops.
Yep. A lot of irrigation systems and whatnot we're finding. And some swamp cooler lines.
Yeah.
And we did have 65 lockoffs in March, which was down about, I think it was 69 in February, so down a little bit.
All right.
All right. So we did 32 valves this past month, bringing us up just under 500 exercised. We did 218 USA North locates, bringing us just 2,560 year-to-date locates just for USA North. USA South, we added a 3, so San Bernardino County area, to refresh your memory, so 7 total. The no-desk truck was running pretty strong this month. We did 19 flushes, bringing us just under 10 million gallons saved by using the no-desk truck year to date. After hours is picking up for standby. 14 after-hour calls. 6 of those were customer assist, whether they had a leak on their side or whatever it may be. 7 lateral repairs and 1 mainline repair. In the past month, there was 16 lateral repairs as well. We replaced 14 service laterals. The gentleman also replaced a hydrant over here. They're still working on it, but we had a steel hydrant service that needed some assistance. It was leaking, so we're working on that. And we had 1 blow-off replacement this past month.
Sorry, I have a
Yes.
comment on laterals. I know I talked to you once about the ones on Mahan, and you said the city was going to take care of the holes that are created there.
Yes.
I'm literally was following a car that hit, the city only did maybe 7, 8, or 10 of them. They hit it through sparks.
Okay.
Some of those are getting really deep.
We'll get
So I
out
don't know if
there.
you have a contact at the city, if they could just put some dirt or something.
Yeah,
down.
they went back and added base, but
Yeah.
we'll take care of that.
Yeah,
It's
I
our
thought
hope.
a car
We'll
hit
be
that thing and I
responsible
saw
for it.
2 sparks.
No problem.
Holy mackerel.
We'll take care of that tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we
Yeah, thank you.
keep track on a map where these repairs are so that we can track?
Yes.
It seems to me that we see a lot of repairs and
Mhm.
if there's one bad actor out there, it might behoove us to actually look at replacing, at once rather than repairing it 50 times.
Yeah, well, we do. So if it's in the dirt, we try to do a permanent repair to save money. In the roadway, what we'll do is we'll make a temp repair if need be, and then get back after the USA locates are good. And we'll go back and replace it with a new style pipe. We're using a Municipex pipe now. So we are going back and replacing them. We just have to wait for locates and then for time to allow to replace them as well.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see, I see we have someone on, a caller on, and if this is for John, I'll go ahead and take the call. So who's online?
Yeah, this is Renee Westerlusk. I have a question about when the arsenic treatment
Oh,
plants
just
are going to be
getting to that.
turned on. Okay.
Renee will probably, when the Brady Street line is all done and back in service, the plant is prepped and ready to go.
So is that like in a week or 2?
Yeah, or, if it gets too hot and we need to turn that back on, yeah, but we usually try to run that as little as possible just due to the cost of chemicals. So if it kicks up hot in May, we'll turn it on in May if need be, but if not, we'll try to keep it down until it really gets warm.
Oh, okay. Because usually they started it in the end of March or April in the past.
It varies on the weather, but since that
Okay.
pipeline is down, we are not going to operate that right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, John. Didn't mean to get ahead of you there.
Yeah, no, you're fine. One more.
That's a money savings, isn't it?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, and that's why we don't run it.
Big plants are expensive to run.
Yes.
So unless we need them on, there's
Yes.
no point in just turning them on.
Correct. Yeah, and the cost of chemicals went up again last year, so, we're
Yeah.
passing that rate savings, or we're passing that savings down to our customers.
That one well,
Well, 11, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, John. What else? Did you have something else? You covered it really.
No, I have one more page
Okay.
for you guys. So water supply, just some project updates. They did clean and prepare all the tanks for the coating contractors.
Okay.
They did start prepping arsenic removal plant 2 for this summer, and that is now ready to go. Software upgrades were completed at the bulk station, so hopefully there's no more issues up there. For the ratepayers that haul their water, there was a update we had to do. We were just going back and forth with the supplier to get us the correct information so we could upload it in there. Optera, which is the solar contractor, has completed all repairs at the solar sites.
Great.
So we are running full steam ahead. And they're still working on the IP radios when time allows as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, that will be the report.
Is Chris going to give us a good report sometime and look, show us what the cameras are doing? So we
That
can
is
be
up
really
to
proud of that.
Guy.
Yeah. No, we want the public to see what you've done out there and all this. We want them to know there's cameras out there. No, I didn't say what their position, just what they're seeing. Yeah. Yeah. They probably already know where they are. But I think the more people know that it's being surveilled is better. All right, thank you. Any questions for John? Any comments?
No.
Good job, John.
Thank you. I would just like to point out the construction crew working on Brady Line with engineering has done a phenomenal job. I mean, that project has gone really smooth. And for it to be done hopefully next week, flushed, and they will flush another section,
Mhm.
is phenomenal. So congratulations to them.
Great. Good. And I know that Ty and I think Renee are working on a cost per foot for when we do it ourselves versus contract for the next finance committee meeting or following one, whenever you get it. Thank you. All right. Any comments, questions from the public or the board before we move on to board comments? Hearing none, I'll start with Director Mallory Boyd.
So again, thank you, staff. Great job. Everything you do, you make us look good.
That's right. And have a nice vacation. Mr. Torah.
I'd like to thank George for all of his hard work on that financial status. That could be very important to us. So thanks, George.
Director Griffin.
I want to agree with Stan and thank George. I think if everything he did a lot of research and everything that was noted was quotes and came from reports. So I really appreciate the effort that was put in and also agree with Director Boyd. Thank you. I think we've got a great staff. I think they're doing a great job.
All right. Director St. Amand.
Good job, everybody. And that was a great presentation, George. Well done. I'm happy to see, encouraged that less water is being used this year, continuing the trend of conservation. And I'm also very happy to see that we're doing well budget-wise. It's a couple of tough years of adjusting rates, and now we're being well positioned to take care of the things that need to be done. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Again, thank you, George. I know a lot of work goes in trying to read any government reports or any government charts can make you go cross-eyed. Well done. And I surely appreciate, I think it's something that we asked for because I didn't understand it. I don't think the public truly understood it. It was needed. And so I surely appreciate it. Again, thank you to staff for everything that you do. And I guess with that, if there's no other comments, the next regular board meeting is May 11th, 2026, and I'll adjourn this meeting at 7:28. Thank you.